Hello students, I Rakesh Chauhan working as PGT Physics in Suraj Group of Schools welcome you all in the e-learning session of physics, and today in this video we will do some numerical problems on the topic applications of Biot-Savart's law. So before going into the actual practice of the questions, I would like to recall you that what are the applications of Biot-Savart's law and what were the formulas we have derived so far in applications of Biot-Savart's law. So the very first formula which we have derived was to find the magnetic field at the center of a circular loop carrying current I and having radius capital R. So the formula, if you can recall from the last video, that it was B0 is equals to mu 0 I upon 2R. That formula we have derived with the help of Biot-Savart's law, and it was the very first application of Biot-Savart's law. Okay, next topic we have discussed was magnetic field at the axis of a circular current carrying loop. So that was the axis line perpendicular or passing through the center of the loop is known as axis, and suppose at point P, which is having x distance from the center of the loop, we have derived the formula of magnetic field B axis as mu 0 I r square upon 2 x square plus r square raised to the power 3 by 2, where r is the radius of the circular loop. So that was the formula we have derived, and if there are n loops, then this net magnetic field will be n times the magnetic field due to a single loop. And the third derivation we have derived was magnetic field due to a straight current carrying conductor of finite length at a distance a, perpendicular distance a. If the current flowing through this wire was I, then the formula we have derived was B is equals to mu 0 I upon 2 excuse me, upon 4 pi a sine phi 1 plus sine phi 2. That was the formula we have derived, where phi 1 and phi 2 were these angles from which this wire is extended from. So these were the angle from phi 1 and phi 2. Although we have derived some special cases also in this topic, and the special cases were case first, in which we have considered that the wire is of infinite length and this point P is in the center of this wire. Then these angle phi 1 and phi 2 becomes 90 degree, therefore sine 90 plus sine 90 becomes 2, and 2 will cross cancel this 4, so it will become B is equals to mu 0 I upon 2 pi a. One other special case we have discussed, and that case was wire is of infinite length, but this point P was at or near the one end of that wire. And suppose this wire is of infinite length, but this point was near to one end of the this wire. So in this case, one of the angle was 0 and the other angle was 90 degree. So this expression becomes 1 plus 0 1. So the formula was B is equals to mu 0 I upon 4 pi a. So these formulas we have derived in applications of Biot-Savart's law, and now let us move towards the actual problems which can be asked on the topic applications of Biot-Savart's law. So you can recall these formulas so that you cannot face any difficulty in solving the questions. Okay, so I have taken these two figures or current carrying loops, and we have to find out the magnetic field at point O, and the point O is this, which is the center of this loop, which is almost circular loop. So it is the center of this circular loop, but in the very first case it is half circular, which we can say semicircular, and these are the two wires of infinite length. So we have to find the formula of magnetic field at the center O. So definitely the contribution at this point O in the magnetic field will be by the two magnetic fields. The very first magnetic field due to this wire. Suppose due to this wire the magnetic field at point O is B1. Okay. Now next magnetic field or next contribution in the net magnetic field at point O will be, suppose, of this segment of wire, which is I have denoted by B2, and of course the third factor or third magnetic field component will be due to this part of this loop, which is a semicircular loop of radius r. Okay, so I have denoted it by B3. Now if the direction of B1, B2, B3 will be in same direction, then the net magnetic field will be the sum. Otherwise, whichever in the opposite direction, we will subtract it. Okay, so let us try to first check the direction of magnetic field at point O due to this segment of or wire of infinite length. So for finding the direction of magnetic field, we use right hand thumb rule, and according to right hand thumb rule, we hold the conductor in our right hand such that the direction of our thumb represent the direction of current, then the bent fingers will represent the direction of magnetic field. Since this point O in the lower part of this wire, then definitely if it were in the upper part of this wire, the magnetic field will be inward. But since the fingers are coming out from this plane, or we can say from this plane, therefore the direction of magnetic field at point O due to this wire will be perpendicularly outward. Okay, so the direction of B1 will be perpendicularly outward, and perpendicularly outward is denoted by circle dot. Okay, same for this wire, we can check the direction using right hand thumb rule. We put this wire in our right hand such that the direction of this thumb will be in the direction of current, then definitely at this point the magnetic field will be perpendicularly downward. But at this point, because since this O point is in the upper half of this wire, therefore it will be also be perpendicularly outward due to this part of the wire also. So we can have B2 also as perpendicularly outward. Now let us talk about the this direction of B3. So to find the direction of B3, we will use once again right hand thumb rule, but here in this case the wire is not straight, so it is circular. So these fingers we put in the direction of current, then the thumb will represent the direction of magnetic field. So the magnetic field due to this semicircular loop at point O will be perpendicularly outward. So all the directions of magnetic field is same, that is perpendicularly outward. So the net magnetic field at point O will definitely perpendicularly outward, and it will be sum of all the individual magnetic field. So now net magnetic field can be written as B1 plus B2 plus B3. Now what is B1? So B1 is the magnetic field due to this wire of infinite length, but this point O is near the one end of this wire. So this will be the second case of the current carrying conductor or magnetic field due to an infinite wire, magnetic field due to an infinite length wire when one end of this wire is near to this point where we want to find the magnetic field. So B1 is mu 0 I divided by 4 pi a, and in place of a, the distance, perpendicular distance of this point from this wire is r. So we will write here mu 0 I upon 4 pi r. Okay, similarly B2 can also be written as mu 0 I upon 4 pi r, because this wire is also of infinite length and this point is near the one end of this wire. Okay, now what is the value of B3? So you will say B3 is equals to mu 0 I upon 4 pi r square, or we can say 4 pi r into alpha. If you can have the special case, or if you can recall the special case, suppose this is the arc which is subtending alpha angle and the radius is r, then the magnetic field at point O or center due to this arc current flowing through this arc is suppose I, then it can be written as mu 0 I upon 4 pi r into alpha. So the value of alpha here will be pi radian, so we can have pi radian here. So B3 becomes mu 0 I upon 4 pi r into pi. So pi will cancel out with this pi, so it comes out to be mu 0 I upon 4r. So these are the values of B1, B2 and B3. Now we can put the value of B1, B2, B3 into equation first, and we can have the value of net magnetic field at point O. So it will be definitely mu 0 I upon 4 pi r plus mu 0 I upon 4 pi r plus mu 0 I upon 4r. And now we can take mu 0 I upon 4r as common, so it becomes 1 upon pi plus 1 upon pi plus 1, and it can be written as mu 0 I upon 4r 2 upon pi plus 1, and the direction of magnetic field will be perpendicularly outward. So the magnetic field will be perpendicularly outward. So that is the solution of very first part of this question. Now we are moving on to the second question. So in the second question, what is the change actually? The change is that this wire is bent, this wire is actually bent up to this part. So this circle is having 3/4 part of the complete circle. This circular loop is 3/4 of the complete circle, and this wire is in the same position, but this wire is along the center, or we can say along this point O lies on this wire, and whenever any point lies on the wire, the magnetic field on that point is always 0. So you must remember one point, that if suppose this is a current carrying conductor, then at a distance of a, definitely the magnetic field will be mu 0 I upon 4 pi a if this wire is of infinite length. But if I ask you that what is the magnetic field at any point on the wire, so you will say the magnetic field will be 0. So this point O, which is the center of the circular loop, lies on the wire, this wire. Definitely due to this wire which carries a current I, the magnetic field at point O will be 0. So therefore there will be no magnetic field due to this segment of wire, but magnetic field will be due to this wire and this portion of this loop, or which we can say the 3/4 part of this circular loop. Okay, so let us try to write down the net magnetic field. So what will be the value of net magnetic field? So it will be B1, suppose due to this part, and B2 due to this part. And the direction, let us check. Direction will be perpendicularly outward and also due to this perpendicularly outward. So net magnetic field will be B1 plus B2. And what is B1? So B1 we have already discussed. B1 is mu 0 I upon 4 pi r, and B2 is mu 0 I upon 4 pi r multiplied by alpha, and this alpha is 3 pi by 2. So we can write down the value of alpha here in radian. 4 pi r 3 pi by 2. Pi will cancel this pi and it become mu 0 I, or in fact 3 mu 0 I upon 8 r. So this will be the value of B2, the magnetic field due to 3/4 of the circular part. So the net magnetic field will be mu 0 I upon 4 pi r plus 3 mu 0 I upon 8 r. And now we can take mu 0 I upon this 8 r, or you can take 4 r as common. So it become 1 upon pi plus 3 upon we can say 3 by 2. So this will be the formula of net magnetic field, or value of net magnetic field at point O due to this arrangement, and the direction we have already discussed will be perpendicularly outward. So this is how we are going to solve such type of questions. We are moving on to the next question. Next question we are going to discuss is question number 2. Find the magnetic field at point O for the following figures, figure 1 and figure 2. And these are the point O at which we have to find out the net magnetic field due to these current figures, or we can say current carrying loops. Okay, so I current is flowing through this loop in this direction, and I current is flowing through this loop in this direction. Okay, so let us first consider the very first figure here, and you can see from this figure that this is semicircular loop in which the current flowing is in clockwise direction. So the magnetic field will be perpendicularly outward due to this bigger loop having radius r2, and due to this smaller semicircular loop, the current flowing is opposite direction to this outer loop. So the magnetic field will be perpendicularly downward. So the net magnetic field will be the difference of these two magnetic field. Now what was the formula of magnetic field due to a circular loop? So you will say at its center B0 is equal to mu 0 I upon 2r. But since it is a semicircular loop, the magnetic field will become exactly half, or you can solve it with the help of this formula also, mu 0 I upon 4 pi r into alpha, and the value of alpha is pi for semicircular loop. So pi will cancel out this pi, so the net magnetic field will become mu 0 I upon 4r in fact. So this is due to semicircular loop. So there are two semicircular loops in which the current flowing is exactly reverse direction. So due to outer loop, we can say B01 is equals to mu 0, or we can say due to inner loop, because radius we have denoted as r1. So B01 is equal to mu 0 I upon 4r1. This is the magnetic field due to inner loop, which is smaller than this outer loop. Okay, then direction of magnetic field using right hand thumb rule, perpendicularly inward, and magnetic field at point O due to this semicircular loop or outer loop or bigger loop, we can say, will be mu 0 I, current is same, 4 r2, and the direction using right hand thumb rule will be perpendicularly outward. So which one is greater? You will say I is same, mu0 is same, but radius is different. So whichever is having less radius will be having more magnetic field, strong magnetic field. So definitely this inner loop or the smaller loop will be having more magnetic field or will produce more magnetic field at the center O. So the net magnetic field we can write down is as B01 minus B02. So B01 is mu0 I upon 4R1 and B02 is mu0 I upon 4R2. So we can take mu0 I upon 4 as common. So it becomes 1 upon R1 minus 1 upon R2. And the direction of net magnetic field will be in perpendicularly outward, we can say, or perpendicularly inward, because this magnetic field or magnetic field due to the smaller loop is greater. So perpendicularly inward. This will be the answer of the first figure. Now coming on to the second figure, and in the second figure, as you can see, there are three loops of different radius. First loop is this, second loop is this. Although this is not complete loop, all these three loops are acting as an arc of the circle of different radius. So if I talk about this part or this arc, it is having r radius, and if I talk about this part, then this arc will be having 2r radius and the outermost arc will be having 3r radius, and the angle subtended is suppose theta. So theta will remain same. The angle subtended by very first arc, second arc and third arc will remain as theta. So using the concept or using this formula, the magnetic field at the center of the circle due to the arc which subtends an angle alpha and the circle whose radius is r, then this formula we will use. So B0 is equal to mu0 I upon 4 pi r into alpha, and the value of alpha is theta. But if I write this formula for very first this arc which is having radius r, so it formula or it will become B01 suppose and becomes mu0 I upon 4 pi r into theta, and the direction will be using right hand thumb rule perpendicularly at center O, perpendicularly inward. Okay, due to this loop whose radius is 2r and current is same, so B02 is equals to mu0 I upon radius becomes 2r, so 4 pi into 2r, and direction will be perpendicularly outward. So perpendicularly outward means circled dot. And B03 once again mu0 I upon 4 pi and radius is 3r, and magnetic field will be perpendicularly downward, means in this direction. So the net magnetic field at the center of this loop will be these two will add up and this will subtract from these two. So we can write down as mu0 I upon 4 pi r plus mu0 I upon this is 12 pi r minus mu0 I upon 4 or into 2 8 pi r. What is common from here? So you will say mu0 I upon, we can take 4 pi r as common, so it will become 1 plus this will become, or into theta also we have to multiply by this angle theta, alpha we can say also, so it will become theta and theta. So theta can be taken as common here. So mu0 I upon 4 pi r we have taken as common, so it will become 1 plus 1 upon, we can say 3 plus 1 upon 2, or in fact minus 1 upon 2. Okay, mu 0 I upon 4 pi r, and after solving this it will become 6, or 6 plus 2 minus 3 into theta, mu 0 I upon 4 pi r, and 8 minus 3, so 5 upon 6 into theta, so I can write down it as 5 mu 0 I upon 24 pi r into theta. So this will be the net magnetic field, and the direction will be in perpendicularly inward. So I hope such type of questions now you can solve easily by understanding the concept of magnetic field at the center of a complete circular loop, semicircular loop, or maybe the part of a circular loop.